Monday, guys. We got a wet one over here. It has been rainstorms, so listen out. You might hear the thunder rumbling and the rain coming in. Oh, gotta get into town after this. Got another client. That's 3 clients at the gym now. Woo! This is my first week with all 3 slotting into my schedule, which has been fun. It's been really nice to actually get back on the gym floor. And I was speaking to my mum yesterday, and I said it was nice to realize that I'd come to a point where I'd got my content down, where what I mean by that is my regular scheduling process fits within about an hour, hour and a half. Maybe with this included 2 hours max in my day. I don't even think it's 2 hours. I'm pretty sure it's all within an hour. Maybe the upload time kind of ticks it up a little bit, but regardless, like the outward facing marketing, that flow of inviting people into my products and services and getting into that rhythm, capped, right? Only takes me a certain amount of time. Now, until that starts to fill up and until things are moving on that side, there's really not much else I can do except for now get myself busy in the back end or create new digital products or assets or all this sort of stuff, which is kind of where this comes into play, in the sense that these are my training wheels for practicing all of these necessary skills. Good morning. It's still early over here. Um, and I think I was telling her that I was starting to get into the worry zone again, or the forcefulness zone, or the hustle zone, where it's like, okay, time's up, but then I wasn't allowing myself to then just go paint or rest or build other things. I was starting to spin and cycle and try and grasp and feel that, well, what can I do now to force more, to make more, to build more? And it's like, I'm still learning at that very edge of managing those ebbs and flows of my own energy and my own excitement and my own saying yes to things in the moment, if I also know that there's going to be a come down the other side, and just all of it. So it was just nice to be able to say to her as well that jumping back on the gym floor, it cuts out certain hours of my day that I'm now, one, I'm earning some money, which is brilliant, tick, but 2, that was Lincoln rushing outside, seen another dog, and he's on alert. But it takes those hours off my day where when we leave Hong Kong, those hours are back. Like it's almost like they're temporarily taken up by an activity that currently earns me an income, but that also doesn't roll me into the ground, because I've still managed to balance my online clients and my own content within a certain period of time. And I have enough of that time within the day. Again, this is just a little part-time gig, so we'll see how it feels as I bring on some more clients, but I'm thinking I kept myself at about 4 or 5 clients in person and then have those hours consistently, which is nice. And then my afternoons, I've got my clients enough hours to get my content done, and then, hey, come here. Once you rush around and you hit my stand, you're going to say hi to everybody. Look, come. So this is Lincoln. This is Lincoln. You want to see him a little bit more? Okay, you can go. Come, come. He's going to come sit nicely by my feet if he doesn't. Oh, there you go. Tail's gone by. Because he can keep watch over the balcony. Sit, chill. Thank you. So yeah, it's just nice to compartmentalize sometimes when you are, you know, especially teetering on those skill sets of finding that balance, but then, you know, circumstances change and you realize maybe you're starting to play into a few old limiting beliefs or anything like that. You just get to take a breath and kind of catch yourself, and it's like, all right, well, let's like reallocate this, let's zoom out again, and let's put things back into perspective. It's like, what is the current goal? What is the main current goal? For us, it's to get out of Hong Kong and to get to the mountains. That's on the agenda. We're actually booking all our Peru trip stuff this week, which is exciting. We're going to be hiking for 10 days in the Cordillera Wawash Nature Reserve over in Peru. I keep looking at photos. I sent Mum a quick link to some photos, and it just looks like a screensaver. So, I'm very excited. I think that's also another thing, again, with putting in these like mini side quests and things in between. It's like when you set stuff too far away, it's so difficult. It's so difficult to, yes, I know. It's more, the difficulty lies in the day to day. Because when you have a goal that's 4, 5, 6 years down the line potentially, or that you're building something that is going to take 4, 5, 6, 10, whatever, your lifetime of work, you can't rush the quality of the reps in the beginning, but at the same time, it's very easy to shuffle the reps onto another day or another week, and that's where the years disappear very quickly. And then suddenly your goal that still will take 5, 6, 7 years to pull together, potentially less if you're, dragging yourself through the mud some other ways, but these long-term plans require the reps now. And I've found one of the few ways to keep myself engaged and keep myself going is to start breaking these down into these smaller side quests, because the big goal can get very overwhelming sometimes, and I think that's where it can very quickly become that armchair philosophy side of things again, and also just the dreaming. I think the dreaming and the thinking and the planning about it and the ruminating and the doing it, and then forgetting that actually every day is passing, and the plan is there and it's so far away, and we understand where we're going, but then we're not rearranging the day-to-day blocks that start to build that tower. It's almost like we're just kind of shuffling them. If that analogy makes sense to anybody. Got my Lady Grey again this morning. I actually need to stock up on some more rooibos. Had a nice rooibos yesterday. Anybody watching the international rugby games? We watched South Africa smash the UK the other day. My husband was just laughing at the comments. It's so funny. It makes me laugh. That whole thing makes me laugh. Because I'm British, technically. Technically, I'm the least British person you'll ever meet. But I was born and raised in Hong Kong. So say it like the Hong Kong Sevens. If Hong Kong's playing, I'm more patriotic to Hong Kong winning than I am to England. And then if England's playing, I'll be like, okay, sure, go England. But then when England and South Africa are playing, I'm like, go South Africa. Because it's like, that's my husband's team. And he actually, like, cheers for this stuff, and I don't have any draw on that. I think I've only lived in the UK for a couple of years out of my life anyway. A couple of years, 3, 4, 2 for uni, 2 for, 4 years maybe. Yeah, that was hilarious. I remember rocking up to Ravensbourne, so that was the place I did my foundation degree in art and design. I'd mentioned those rotations the other day. I remember sitting across from a table from 2 Asian guys, and I was like, oh, where are you guys from? And they were like, oh, East London. And I'm like, oh, sweet. And then they go, where are you from? And I'm like, Hong Kong. And they just go, no, you're not. And I just look at them and I'm like, well, are you guys really from East London? It turns out their parents were from Hong Kong, and my parents being British. I was like, well, at one point I was like, guys, out of anybody on this table, can you not understand where I'm coming from? Like, you guys don't turn around and say you're from Hong Kong when you were born and raised in East London. I don't feel like when I say to people in the UK, I'm from the UK, it doesn't make any sense because I'm not from the UK. I was born and raised in China, in Asia. Like, it was very odd. I remember it being very interesting going to university. For one, I started at 17 because in Hong Kong they do the years by years, Whereas in the UK, they break you off in the August to September school years. So anybody that's that calendar year, technically I would have been in a year behind in in the UK. So instead of being the youngest in my year, I would have been one of the oldest in my year, which is hilarious. But because it makes then when you go to university in the UK, it's not possible for you to be starting university without being 18 because of the cutoff of the cycle of the school calendar. Whereas for me, for the first 3 months I was at university, I was 17. So that was hilarious because I was like, shit, what am I going to do about the pubs? What am I going to do about going for a drink? I refused to go with the groups of students into central London for nights out unless I could borrow one of the other ladies' IDs because she was also blonde hair and kind of, I think we can kind of get away with that. I think the guys on the door don't truly care unless you have some form of ID, but I couldn't bring my passport, couldn't bring my Hong Kong ID, couldn't bring any of my own form of ID. Luckily at the pub in the high street in the little area that we were in Chislehurst, so it was just southeast of London. It was hilarious. When my mum had actually brought me to go and see the university, I remember stopping. He's getting so excited. Somebody else to go chase. That's getting annoying though if he keeps bumping my tripod. But I just remember walking to the university when my mum was taking me to go have a look, and at one point I just stopped and I was like, and my mum goes, what is it? She's just like, can you hear that? It's silence. It was a new phenomenon to me. I actually struggled at university to get to sleep at night because there was no noise. There was no air conditioning noise, no kind of buzzing or humming. It was just silence. Anyway, that's a story for another day. Lincoln, are you being a good guard dog? Come here. Oi. No. Hello, my friend. Oi, 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 oi. You can go chill in bed now. Go chill. Go to bed. Little tail going over there. He's going to go in and inspect the perimeter. Now he wants to come back and sit where he can see. And it's raining outside. That's why he's sitting right there. Come sit here again. Go on. Get comfortable. Sit down. Chill. So I did wonder how I was going to deal with going to the pub and stuff. But again, luckily, daughter of a policeman, born and raised in the bars, I know. Make friends with the bar staff. That is the first thing you do, especially as a woman in a new area. You find your local. You want to go make friends and you want to feel safe. You go find your local. You go meet the manager. You go meet the bar staff. And especially in the evenings, you go and introduce yourself to security. Go say hi to the security guards. Tell them your name. Tell them that you're living in the area. Say hi. Buy them a drink at the end of the night if you need to. But whatever. But just start to get to know people. And it was amazing because 3 months later we were in the pub and I was celebrating my birthday. The general manager was like, because luckily again in the UK all students have to be 18, so my student ID card didn't actually have my date of birth on me. It just didn't have my date of birth on it. It had the date of starting the school year, so it was an active university card, so I was able to get away with that, and just because I was a lovely person. Still makes me laugh. I celebrated my 16th birthday in one of the Russian bars here in Hong Kong. I had to tell them it was my 18th. They had no idea. Been drinking with them since I was 15. Oh my lord, when I think about my alcohol days, I think what annoys me more, not annoys me more, because again, everybody has their story, everybody has to go through their things, and I am not upset that I feel like I am, like, there's no more FOMO in terms of the bar area for me or the bar scenes for me or anything like that. And I also feel like I have so much more confidence in how to handle myself in those situations or in those scenes, or like just being confident to walk into a dingy bar and go and sit at a seat or do something like that. I remember when I was over in the UK in September at the end of last year. Shame, we lost Dad's dad, so that side of the family's been gathering upstairs, or wherever they gather. And after I'd checked him into the hospice place, the end of life care place that he was at, I managed to find a little pub right next door, and it was hilarious, brilliant, sad, touching, all at the same time. But again, it felt like home, being able to walk into a pub like that and feel like home when I was by myself and I felt very alone and I didn't have family around to have a hug or to have a chat. And walked in, sat at one of the bar stools at the bar. Another guy was sat next to me, and then you get one of the other locals come in, and he's like, "That doesn't look like Mickey." And my face, I was like, somebody has to tell me when Mickey arrives, because I know whose bar seat I was sitting in. Next minute, he comes in the door, Mikey or whatever his name was. Oh, it was too funny. And for a second, he was like, "No, it's okay." And I was like, "No, if my father has taught me anything, it's you do not take a man's bar stool at the bar," especially the guys that are part of the furniture. But it was brilliant. It was Mikey, and then the other guy that ended up I had a chat with was Dave, and that's funny because that's my dad and my uncle's names, Mike and Dave. So the fact that I was looking after Granddad, and the gentleman that I were talking to in the pub were the names of his two sons, made me feel lovely. But even just being able to say to the barkeep, and it's very rare that you still have those bartenders when they ask you a question and they say, "How are you?" They genuinely want to know the answer. And so being able to turn around and go, "Today kind of sucks," and sort of tell him Granddad's situation, why I was there, and the fact that he was a Navy man, and the fact that I was based out in Hong Kong, and the two guys at the end of the bar were also Navy guys, and it was just so nice, like, to be able to have a chat, ask questions, tell some stories. They were interested in Hong Kong. They told me that the China Fleet Club that was down near Plymouth was actually the one from Hong Kong, and that all the guys had pulled together to get their money over there. And yeah, it was just life, huh? Like, real life with real people, with real strangers, and just being able to have a genuine conversation and it not need to be anything or mean more than that, or just to be kind to the people around you, and yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny. Um, I feel like the point of that story started with age groups and stuff, and now it's kind of got into, I don't know, something else. But we always learnt how to strike up a conversation with somebody. I'll give my parents that. Raising us in bars, raising us in that kind of environment. I find no matter where I go, it doesn't matter how old you are, I can strike up a conversation and we can have a chat about something. I don't care whether you're 2 years old or 92 years old, we can figure it out. And I think that's also a lot of life training and life, I don't know, skill sets that maybe it's because I'm getting all these articulation training things and it started to move into small talk. Um, and now people feeling, or the adverts looking like they're shutting people down for even attempting small talk. Like, how was your weekend? Wrong answer, wrong question. I'm really hung up on these articulation training things. 9 minutes a day. We started on side quests and breaking it up. And I just think, looking back now, there have been prolonged periods of my life where, especially in the agency days and in the last 5 years, while I've been building this stuff for myself, where I forget that the common denominator is the fact that I am going to be alive for this for as long as I am going to be alive and here. And so while that's the case, as a creator, how are you building the things around you to build up these digital portfolios, digital assets, and things that you can play with? But again, I think it was another girlfriend I had a coffee with the other day. Something had happened in her world, and again, chatted like trust with somebody, and it was really shit and all that sort of stuff. But it kind of reminded me again that we feel, I don't know, I'm feeling like everybody in society at the moment is always living on this edge, and we're living on this over productized, over productivity, over nanosecond micromanagingness. It's like by micromanaging everything, you are by definition sucking the fun out of everything, or sucking the magic out of everything when everything is so controlled. And I understand when you're in it, and when you've built that structure and regime around you, it's very hard to break away from that. It's hard to break away from those cycles, but finding a bit more room for everything to breathe and everything to not feel so close. I don't know if close is the word. I just realized I'm like sitting halfway down in the screen for this one. So coming up a little bit for the end. I'm going to have to sign off soon and make my way into town before this rain comes in. But it's going to be a little of a Monday meandering kind of conversation. But again, I guess this is what this is for, right? What's coming up? What am I noticing? What has been the things that have actually kicked me out of certain habits or certain things? And it's the hardest part to realize, is that it was never one thing still. Like, I was still always searching for the one skill or the one habit or the one thing that if I just was able to focus on that, everything else would unlock. And I think if I think about it now, the fitness definitely has to be the key piece. If I'm really pinpointing something, like whatever that looks like to you, moving regularly and getting into the rhythms of also not the rigidity of what movement has to be or what training has to be. And if you only have 20 minutes, you have 20 minutes. If you have an hour, you have an hour. If you, one day you go for a run, one day you go for a swim, one day you go for a dance, one day you crank up the music and just fucking clean the house. That is a workout in and of itself, if you do that with passion and vigor, and a time count. I don't know, like something about getting back into the body. That is your only connection to you. Moving this stupid little meat suit around and making this flow, and then being able to be as, I think this is where the I healed so hard I got weird again type thing is coming into play. Like, it really is. And everything that I'm seeing with this Jessie Jean Yap Challenge, and seeing more people get into this flow of going through these crazy, embarrassing, hard first reps of things. You have to get through the first reps of things. And this is where, again, I've told any of my clients, like, if you're creating and, again, if you can just bite the bullet and do it in front of people, great. But if that's not the way that you're wired and there's still too much friction, start a new page, do it somewhere else. You have options. But not doing it and staying in this little cocoon and hiding, it's this whatever you feel like you're hiding from, or whoever those names are that pop up when you feel scared to post, or for whatever criticism is coming in, address those guys first. Because I shit you not, they are dealing with their own lives and they probably haven't even thought about you for a very long time. And even if they have, it's still your life. And they're still going off and trying to fix theirs. So are you really going to allow that to stop you from taking the next step forward? That was something I really had to get into my own head about. It was, is this really how I'm going to allow my life to be dictated by all these other people? No. And if you didn't answer that for yourself, the answer is no. So, like, find yourself this week, like, be aware of what it is that's, coming in, and what it is that's affecting you, or what it is, like, where that fear is sitting, where that excitement's sitting, where that nervousness is sitting, where that big thing that actually is probably now far bigger in your head than it ever was on paper or even as a task. Where are you hiding those things? And start slaying them one at a time. One at a time. And if you don't feel like you have enough energy to slay them one at a time, focus on cultivating your energy again. Give yourself 2 weeks. Like, I think it was that when I kind of realized that I was always living for the Monday restart. I spoke about that recently. And I realized I wanted these things so much, yet I hadn't completed a 2-week cycle of finding my rhythm with my workouts and my exercises. 2 weeks. 14 days of doing nothing but taking care of yourself outside of whatever you are already juggling in life is the best place to start. Every nanosecond of you bring it back to being yours. Cancel everything else. Whatever work, clients, that's it. And food. Get your food sorted. Sleep. Earlier sleep. Meditations. Quiet. Just reading a book. Like, find your time again and take that back. And then see what happens. But yeah, man, it's never one thing. It's a bunch of things. It's the little things. It's the mundane things. It's the boring things. It's the unsexy things over and over and over and over again that actually become very fucking sexy when you realize how simple it is and how good you feel on the other side of it. Like, I love how we've been so pulled away from the health and the vitality of our lives where it's become eating healthy. It's like, no, that's actually just eating for this body. What we do is eat unhealthy, not what that is normal and then you have to sacrifice to eat. Like, everything's been so separated. The separating yourself from your phone, that's sanity. That's not insanity. Like, so yeah, I don't know, play opposite day for a couple of weeks and see what happens. Crazy. All right, well, week 7 of us doing this. I'm still excited to see how this unfolds between now and the mountains when we have our 10 days offline. But yeah, I'm excited. Let me know in the comments what you guys want to talk about, or if there's anything that you're dealing with out there, or if there's anything I can help spark new ideas and things into your life. That's kind of the whole point of this. I want to ruminate on the conversations and, yeah, see where everybody's at, and then have new topics to talk about, new things to dig into, and new paradoxes and double-edged swords and, life, man. Cheers to this roller coaster. And if you're building the creator way, cheers to you even more.